Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Movie Review. I am your host, Mike, aka Pacific414. Yes, that is my call sign, Pacific414. And with me are TKO, call sign, Chaos, and Common Sense America, call sign, The Smoking Patriot. Gentlemen,
What up?
what are we here to talk about?
We're here to talk about awesomeness condensed and in its true form.
We're here to talk about probably one of the first true entertainment movies in a long time.
Top Gun Maverick, after 36 years, is worth getting back in the pilot seat. What'd you guys say?
Oh, yeah. So weird, though. Like, cultural icons. Like, I heard a good argument. It's like, what? Tom Cruise was not the star of Top Gun. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, the F-14 was. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, the Super Hornet is a beautiful aircraft, but she does not have the stage presence that F-14 had.
Yeah, the F-14 is just it's one of those aircraft, when you see it, you're just like drooling. And, you know, even though it's outdated by today's standards of aircraft, you know, with like the F-22, F-35, even the latest versions of the FA-18, when you just see that jet, you're just like, The
only thing obsolete about the F-14 Tomcat is its avionics. You slap on new avionics, new engines, and the new missiles, that thing's gonna slap just as hard as it did when it was first rolled out.
I agree. But I mean, obviously, the FA-18 is, they feel, is much better role than the F-14. Obviously, otherwise they wouldn't have phased out the F-14.
The reason why they phased out the F-14 was because it was expensive. Like, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say a flight hour on a F-18 costs $20,000, right, of maintenance per flight hour. F-14 was up to like 40-something thousand per flight hour. It was really expensive to run. Like, F-14 right now is faster, out climbs, out rate fights, out freaking accelerates F-18. It's pretty much superior in every way, like flight performance wise, other than like low end, really like maneuverability, roll rate, and whatnot. Because in a sustained turn, F-14 will just eat his lunch. In a one circle fight, in a one circle fight, F-14 will eat F-18's lunch. F-18 has a chance in a two circle fight, but it's still a nice aircraft. Like I said, make a modern F-14 and just only thing it would fear would be F-22s.
Yeah, F-22s and F-35s would be the only two aircraft, I think, that the F-14 would have a genuine threat with.
Yeah, modern aviation, avionics, fly-by-wires, and you make an F-14 super Tomcat. Oh, I got a video to show you guys later on that. And it slaps. It'll just slap.
So I have a question for the both of you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
After 36 years from the original Top Gun, did you have any reservations about going into a sequel that didn't come out 3-4 years after the original?
Not even a little bit. When I found out, Tom Cruise, I don't know, I've been watching his movie since the 80s, and Tom Cruise does not put out a bad movie. I can't think of a movie that he put out that has been bad, because he has a almost autistic attention for detail when it comes to his movies, okay? It's like, oh, he's going to do Top Gun 2. Cool. Why? Because I was talking to my friends at work. They're like, well, I didn't know, but I go, it's Tom flipping Cruise. The only human being to make NASCAR look awesome. How do you make a left turn awesome? Tom Cruise pulled it off. So I knew it. Especially I know how he is. He wants real jets. He wants real I knew how he was going to do it. I wasn't even doubting. The only thing I was worried about is how much modern Hollywood would mess it up. But I forgot. Tom Cruise is like power. He's the man. You let him do his thing, and it worked out great.
I think for me, the only thing was like any wokeism, agenda pushing, anything like that, and that was my only reservation, because I'm thinking that's the only thing that can kill this movie. Literally, I mean, it's Top Gun is a very simple premise. It's a very simple story that leaves a lot of room for character development, awesome flight scenes, epic dog fights, that kind of stuff, because it's a simple story. But the only thing that can taint that is modern Hollywood with their wokeism, their agenda pushing, their putting people into roles that they have no business in. I mean, even the female actresses in this, you know, the pilot and Jennifer Connelly's character.
Even though we never saw the character in the previous movie, we heard about her.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. So
it was the Admiral's daughter everyone was talking about. It was her.
I think, that's who it was.
Yeah, Penny be that. Oh, the Admiral's daughter. He got in trouble. I was like, oh snap! I love how they tied up so many ends in this movie.
I mean, if you want to talk about one of the purest, most awesome sequels that never needed to be made, but was made and done in the best fashion, this movie is truly it. It expands on Maverick more. It shows all the battles he's having to deal with, both internally with himself and with the Navy. You know, it shows him later in life. So you see him aged, you see his experience more. It really was probably the perfect sequel in a long time. I mean, we haven't seen a sequel this good. It's been a long time.
The 80s. No, the 90s. I think this is up there with Terminator 2, Aliens 2,
Home Alone 2.
Dare I say it, Empire Strikes Back for some people.
Yeah, and for those who want to say Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers, technically that's one full movie. They filmed that all in one fell swoop. They just cut it. So there was a part 1, part 2, and part 3. There wasn't a sequel or anything. It was really one movie. So don't use the Lord of the Rings argument, because I have seen people try and use that, and I'm like, no, that was actually one movie, but they just filmed it and then they cut it to make 3 movies.
Yeah,
because no one wants to sit in a theater for like 10 hours. Although I'm not gonna lie, I would have.
I have to be honest, from my own perspective, when I've heard that Maverick was coming out, of course, you know, it was originally supposed to come out 2 years ago and everything. When they first announced that a Top Gun sequel was coming, I was thinking to myself, but we don't need one. Top Gun stands on its own.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need a sequel. It ended with Charlie and Pete getting together, and you see the 2 Tomcats going off into the sunset.
I was always waiting for a sequel for Top Gun. You know what I'm saying? I would have rather been earlier, because I would want to have seen, you know, Maverick doing some crazy real missions and stuff, and you know, the process, and see him being shown him turning down promotions and whatnot. I would have wanted to see that journey. I mean, Rambo, how many Rambo movies were there? You know, I mean, it's like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I feel like 36 years later is probably, if you're thinking about Maverick and Top Gun and that world, I feel like it actually is the perfect time for a sequel, because we got a lot of snippets of what his life was like, you know, and whatnot. So I think it was really good that they did it now, because we have an older Maverick who's a very much a veteran pilot, and has been through a lot of stuff in his life, but you still see the demons that haunt him 36 years later. I mean, I it's one of those rare things in Hollywood where I'd say we didn't need this sequel this far out, but I'm glad we did, and it was done in such a good fashion.
In a non-spoilery way, the movie has the same strengths and the exact same weaknesses of the first movie. I'm like, they knew it worked. They didn't take any risks. They knew what worked, and they went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they looked at the original recipe and said nothing needs to be changed. We don't need to, you know, add this spice or, you know, add more sugar to it. It's all, no, this recipe works.
Yep, and definitely unlike the Star Wars sequels, the writers of this script did their flipping homework. My God, did they do their homework?
They did.
The fact that they put Penny in the movie, I'm like, dude, they really paid attention to part 1.
Yeah.
Because they only mentioned that woman's name one time. Penny Benjamin or something was her last? Yeah. I'm like, wait.
I'll give credit to Jennifer Connelly. She did a wonderful job.
She
was in the movie, she did a wonderful job. The thing that I really appreciated about this movie is there wasn't one character overshadowing another. They all got their time in the spotlight.
Why are you lying to the audience? Maverick overshadowed all. Maverick is the god of Tomcat.
Well,
the god of
thing
flight.
is, it's Top Gun Maverick. So yes, the focus is going to be on Maverick.
I know. I'm just being facetious.
I know.
Why is that word kicking my butt right now? That movie's so good. So much good.
Yeah,
so much delicious.
If you really want to know, folks, the truth of the matter is Top Gun Maverick is worth seeing. It's worth your money. It's worth going to see more than enjoy it from start to finish.
I personally enjoyed part 2 more than part 1. Or I don't know. I think I enjoyed part 2 as an adult as much as I enjoyed part 1 as a kid. I guess I should put it that way. Because part 1 blew my flipping mind at like 8, 9, and how old was I? I don't know. It's 8 or 9, whatever. That blew my freaking mind. Okay, knowing jack about aircraft. Knowing what I know about aircraft and whatnot, and my time in the military, this movie blows my mind as an adult. So I don't know if that's a better or as good. I don't know how to say it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Top Gun Maverick, it carries all that weight that you felt in the first one beautifully over. Because the first one, when you're seeing them flying in the jets, you're like, holy crap, because you had never really seen jet combat like that in a movie on that on that visual scale, really, And even to this day, rewatch that big dogfight scene at near the end of the movie, where it's like 2 or 3 F-14s against like 6, 7 enemy jets, and there's it to this day you're still riveted, even though you know what's going to happen because you've probably seen it 100 times. It's still like you're on the edge of your seat because of just watching these jets do what they do and the pilots that can do what they can do with those jets.
Not only that, when Goose dies in the movie, for anyone who hasn't seen the original Top Gun, when Goose dies, it still gets to you. Go watch part 1 and then go to the movies and watch part 2.
Yep. And just like I said in my initial reaction video that I posted to my channel, near the end of that video, I said, this is something that we need to shower with our money. Because how many times have me, Nerdrotic, Jeremy Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Cannell, Mike, Chaos, many others have said this, okay? We've all said, let your wallets speak louder than your words. Because you can type all you want on social media, but the bots and that tiny little super auditory group, they're always going to carry much more weight. Why? Because they have no lives. But the one thing that we have more power over than they do is with our money. And if you go see Maverick, see it 2, see it 3 times. Let it be so high grossing that it forces Hollywood to start reconsidering how they do movies. Because they're going to see simple movie, simple premise, epic action, lots of character development, no wokeness.
Common.
Yes.
We had this discussion multiple Pop Talks ago. They're not going to... Okay, these people that are making these movies so bad, they don't care about money. They literally don't care if they make a dime. All they care about is pushing their agenda because they've already had slaps in game. Okay, Infinity Wars, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Ghostbusters: Afterlife. They're all racking up bodies. Okay, I'm talking dollar bill bodies. Their body counts are stacked to the ceiling. And Hollywood they're still. I'm looking at the commercials. They're still trying to pump the agenda. So no. What we're here to do is not to try to convince these cultists in Hollywood. We're trying to encourage more people to go independent, do their own things, or stand firm for good story, for good movie making, such as Tom Cruise. You will not take it. You will not convert. The cultists will not be converted. They're going to go down burning in the wreckage of their aircraft. Okay, they're not going to hit the ejection handle, go and get a different jet and try different things. They're going to ride that jet all the way into the mountain. And as I told you this, I've seen this before. Okay, they're not going to change. They're going to die out, and something else is going to take its place. That's what's going to happen. I'll bet you there's no way Hollywood's going to wake up. You know what? We're all literally insane cultists trying to push an agenda. But we're not making any money. Some of the corporations might, but Hollywood as a whole, nope. Because Netflix right now, look, Netflix hit the mountain, isn't on fire. And now they're trying to change course correct. Oh, no, Netflix, you already hit the mountain. You're on fire. You are burning to the ground right now. Now they're thinking, oh, we're gonna, not be as woke. If you don't like it, maybe you should work somewhere else. It's too late. That's what all these companies are going to do. They're not going to talk change until their aircraft is already a burning pile of debris falling out of the sky. So, like you said, yes, use your money to support the content that is just providing entertainment, and the free market will work out the rest.
I'm going to say this to anyone who has a locally owned theater type deal, support that local theater. If they're playing this movie, support that local theater. Give them the business. Yep. Don't go to the corporate owned theater if you can avoid it. Go to your mom and pop theater like I did. I went to the one here in town, and they're able to show just one movie because it's a theater that's been around for 104 years. And I'd rather go there and pay my ticket price and go watch this movie, because I'm going to tell you this, at this local theater, I paid $12, not for my ticket, but for my ticket, popcorn, and soda. So I would rather go to that theater to watch a movie and support them, even if it's a movie where I walk out of it going, well, I don't want to see that again. I'd rather give them the support because they're not owned by a corporate entity.
Yep, that's what I did. I went to the only independent theater in the county, because all the theaters are all chains. They're either AMC, NCG, Cinema World, Regal. I went to the only independent one that's been there for now. It was originally a corporate chain, and then when they were getting ready to pull out, the guy bought it from them, reinvented it into more of a quote unquote luxury experience. He put in really nice comfy seats. It was the first theater in the county to use all digital projectors. No more bulbs, no more like 35 millimeter film. Like, the bulbs are specially designed for digital cameras, and whatnot. So like, it was truly the first amped up experience in our county. And they're still a thriving business to this day. That's where I went to go see mine, because I'm like, people are like, oh, well, go to this theater, go to that theater. They got better drinks. Or I'm like, no, I'm going to go to my local theater. Because why? Because they're independent. If all these other chains pulled out tomorrow, I want the independent theater to be thriving to where I have a place to go.
Mm-hmm. I live in a bougie area of California, so the only local theater is Centopolis, a bougie one with like reclining seats and like people like food and drinks being brought to you, and but someone runs up, what would you like?
Yeah,
I go to the concession and get my own food and popcorn.
I mean, that's the only thing that's here. I was like, okay. And I'm not going all the way to Aliso Viejo. In Aliso Viejo, it would be Regal. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's all chains primarily. There's not a whole lot of actual independent ones. That's why I like my local independent so much.
I'm surprised any of them survived the COOF bullshit crap.
Well, the thing is that this theater has been loved by our county for a long time, and even during the COOF, when movie theaters weren't able to have people in their seats for a while, they still had on Wednesdays, they have if you buy a ticket, you get a free small popcorn. They still did the free small popcorn even though you couldn't go see a movie. So they'd be out there with dozens and dozens of bags of free popcorn. So you drive up, you'd say, with your car full of however many people, you'd say, how many bags of popcorn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's 6 small bags of popcorn.
How do they afford to do that?
Doing it. Because, well, I don't know how, but they did it as a way of still being loyal to the community and whatnot.
They have a GoFundMe or something? Because if they're not bringing in ticket sales, how the hell are they affording to just give people?
I don't know.
But Chaos. If people love the theater like they love the local theater near me, they'll do whatever they can to support them, to make sure they stay in business, to make sure that they can reopen after everything is all said and done.
Well, yeah, that's why the reason I'm asking this question, like, because like if anything like this happens again in the future, how to have other communities help their local theaters or whatnot, not go through that. Because I'm like, how did they survive not making money, 1, and 2, spending money? That's That's
well,
curious.
the thing is that, well, I mean, you know, popcorn and everything is, it's a little bit, it's probably the cheapest thing they could offer, you know, and you know, yeah, you could say they weren't open, but you trust me, as somebody who I worked at this theater for 2.5 years, I can tell you right now, like 2 pallets of popcorn will last you a long time if you're only doing small bags once a week.
Okay.
Yep.
So so I mean, say they spend say $5,000 on all the popcorn and everything, and a little bit more for the time for the employees to be there. But think about all the money that they're not spending on, you know, energy, on all the heavy amounts of employee wages, on having to purchase all of this extra food and everything because of regular stuff. So I'm sure they had reserves that they pulled from. So
Curious.
That
yeah,
piggy bank, you know, the break glass in case of emergency situation.
yeah, that's probably what they did. So I mean, people went. It's the moment that you could start going back into movie theaters. Although, did they ever? I'm trying to think how long they were actually quote unquote kind of like shut down. I think it was just during the initial part, but the moment that in Florida that movie theaters could reopen at 50% capacity, they opened up. So
That checks out.
yeah.
All right, so your thoughts without giving away spoilers. You know, what kind of rating would you give this? You know, it could be either by alphabet A, B, C, D, E, or F, or by stars, either 5 or 10 stars.
Me personally, go ahead.
No. I'm thinking out loud. Go ahead.
The kid in me wants to give it a 10, but I have to give it a good, solid 9. It's not getting a perfect 10 because the military side of me is not going to give it a perfect 10. I can't do it. I can't do it.
And how about you, Patriot?
I'd have to say I give it I'd say a 9.5. I mean, it's impossible for me to give any movie a perfect 10. It's impossible because there's always some flaw in a movie that you wish that could be corrected. So, but I'd say this movie is about a good solid 9.5.
Well,
in my
I'm not
opinion.
going to contradict what I said in my reaction video. To me, the movie was perfect. Considering it was 36 years after the original and all the things they could have thrown in there, but didn't throw in there for, you know, reasons of, you know, everything that's going on, both politically and socially, this movie's perfect. You want to escape? This movie gives you that escape.
Yeah. As long as you have been a civilian your entire life, you'll be fine.